You found the leverage point. You named the multiplier. You can say, in plain numbers, exactly how this build pays. So you're done with the hard part, right? Not quite. Because there's a failure mode that kills more profitable builds than bad ideas ever do. And it doesn't happen at the leverage point. It happens right after it. You found the spot where the value is, and then you talk yourself, or your client talks you, into building 3 times more than the value actually needs. And the build that was going to pay in 2 weeks is still not shipped 2 months later. The leverage point was real. The scope killed it. So here's what I want to hand you in the next few minutes. By the end of this, you'll be able to take any build where you found the leverage point, the spot where the value is, and draw a hard line around the smallest version that actually proves it pays. You'll know what goes in the first version, what gets cut completely, and what gets parked for later. And you'll know how to tell the difference, which is the whole skill. Because every feature you're tempted to add is going to feel important in the moment. Scoping is how you ship instead of sprawl. Let me show you how it's done. First, let's be honest about how this actually goes wrong, because it doesn't look like a mistake while you're making it. It looks like enthusiasm. Day 1, the build is clean. A simple AI workflow that drafts our client onboarding emails. Small, focused. You could ship that in a week, and the day it ships it starts saving someone real hours. Then, week 2 shows up. While we're in there, we should pull from the CRM so it personalizes automatically. Reasonable. Then, and it should sync to the calendar so it schedules the kickoff call. Also reasonable. Then someone says, and honestly, it'd be amazing if it generated the onboarding documents too, and gave us a dashboard of where every client is in the flow. Every single one of those is a good idea. That's exactly why this is so dangerous. Scope creep isn't made of bad ideas. It's made of good ones, and good ones are hard to say no to. And here's where it lands. Week 10, nothing has shipped. The thing that was going to draft onboarding emails in a week is now a sprawling client operations platform that's 2/3 built and stuck. And the whole time, the leverage point you found, the hours that build was supposed to save, is still costing the business every single day. Because the build that would have captured it doesn't exist yet. You didn't lose because the idea was wrong. You lost because you never drew the line. So let's draw it. Here's the rule, and it's the spine of everything else in this lesson. The first version is the smallest build that proves the multiplier. Nothing more. That's it. Not the smallest build you'd be proud of. Not the smallest build that feels complete. The smallest one that proves the specific return you named. If the multiplier was replaces 3 hours a week of support work, the first version doesn't have to handle every support case that could ever come in. It handles the most common ones, roughly the 80% of cases that make up the bulk of the volume, the ones that account for the 3 hours. Not all 100%. The common 80 is the proof. If the multiplier was cuts client onboarding from 2 weeks to 2 days, the first version handles the standard onboarding path, the one most clients actually go through. Not the weird edge cases, not the one client who needs something custom. The standard path is the proof. If the multiplier was, lets one marketer produce the content of 3, the first version produces one type of content, the highest volume one, at that multiplied rate. Not all 5 types. One, done well, is the proof. See the move in all 3? You're not building less because less is somehow virtuous. You're building exactly enough to make the return show up, and not one feature more. Because once the return shows up, once that build is actually saving the hours, or cutting the time, or multiplying the output, you've earned the right to build the next piece. And you're building it with proof in hand instead of hope. Now, how do you actually decide? Feature by feature. Because in the real moment, you've got a list of 10 things the build should do, and they all feel necessary. So you run every one of them through 3 buckets. Just 3. Every feature you're considering goes into exactly one of them. Bucket 1, include in the first version. This is anything the multiplier literally cannot be proven without. If the return is cuts onboarding from 2 weeks to 2 days, then the build has to actually carry a client through the standard onboarding path, start to finish, or you've got nothing to measure. That core path is non-negotiable. It's in. The test for this bucket is strict. Not, would this be good to have, but is the multiplier impossible to demonstrate without it? If the answer is yes, it's in the first version. If it's anything softer than yes, it isn't. Bucket 2, cut entirely. And I mean cut, not park for later. These are the features that don't move the multiplier at all. The integration that would be slick but doesn't change the math. The extra polish that makes you happy but doesn't change whether anyone adopts it. The clever capability that's genuinely cool and genuinely irrelevant to the return you named. Here's the line I want you to hold. If it doesn't help the build pay, it doesn't ship. Not in version 1. And honestly, maybe not ever. Cutting feels like loss in the moment. It's not. Every feature you cut is time you get back and a build that actually ships. Bucket 3, defer. This is the bucket people get wrong, so listen close. Deferred features are the ones that genuinely will compound the multiplier. They'll make a real build even better. But the proof doesn't need them yet. The CRM integration that makes onboarding even faster once onboarding actually exists and works. The dashboard that shows you how much time you're saving once you're actually saving it. These are real. They're just not part of the proof, so they don't belong in version 1. But, and this is the part that makes deferring different from just forgetting, you write them down. You capture them somewhere durable, the same place you keep the rest of the build's decisions, so they're documented and waiting. Not lost in your head, and definitely not silently sneaking back into version 1 next week. Deferring isn't saying no forever, it's saying yes, later. And here's the note that proves I meant it. So that's the discipline. Every feature, one of 3 buckets. In, because the multiplier can't be proven without it. Cut, because it doesn't move the multiplier at all. Or deferred, documented, and explicitly out of version 1. And here's the rule that enforces the whole thing. A feature doesn't get into version 1 by default. It earns its way in by being multiplier required, or it goes to cut or defer. Nothing rides along just because it was on the list. There's one more guardrail, and it's the one that catches you when the buckets aren't enough. Put a clock on the first version. A real build at a real leverage point should ship in something like 1 to 3 weeks, not 1 to 3 months. And if you run every feature through the 3 buckets, you genuinely believe everything left is multiplier required, and the calendar still says 6 weeks, then cut more. I know how that sounds, but the timeline is telling you something the feature list won't admit. You're still building too big. The return is real. Your scoping just hasn't gone deep enough yet. There's a smaller first version hiding inside the one you've got, and your job is to find it. Why 1 to 3 weeks specifically? Because that's the window where everything stays true. You're still focused and you still care. The business or the client is still aligned on the brief you agreed to. The market hasn't shifted under you. And the multiplier you measured is still the multiplier that matters. Past that window, drift sets in on every front at once. And the longer the first version takes, the more of that return you're leaving on the table while it's not shipped. So you ship the first version, then you earn the second. And I want to name what's really happening here, because it ties straight back to the heart of this whole course. Finding the leverage point is one kind of work, knowing where the value is, but scoping it, drawing this line, cutting the good ideas, shipping the smallest version that proves it, that's the other kind of work. That's the real doing at the leverage point. This is the part where being disciplined is the leverage. The operator who ships a focused first version in 2 weeks beats the one with the brilliant, sprawling vision that never ships every single time. Scoping isn't the boring administrative step before the real work. Scoping is the real work. So here's your move, and do it before you write a single line of anything. Take the build you found the highest value point in, the one whose multiplier you named, and run every feature you're imagining through the 3 buckets right now. Write 3 short lists. Include in version 1. Cut entirely. Defer. Force every feature you're picturing into exactly one of them. And be honest, especially about the ones that hurt, to move out of version 1. Because those are usually the ones that were quietly turning your 1-week build into a 1-quarter project. Then check your include list against the calendar. Does it ship in 1 to 3 weeks? If not, you already know the move. Find the smaller first version inside it. Get that right, and you've turned a profitable idea into a build that actually ships. Get it wrong, and the best leverage point in the world dies in scope creep, the same way most of them do. Next, you put a number on it. You've found where it pays, you've scoped the first version. Now, you either price the work, if you're building for a client, or you measure the return, if you're building inside your own business. Different math, same scope build underneath it. That's the next lesson. And if you ever want to see this discipline at full size, it's not theory for me. This is exactly how the real ones get built. Go look at Scale B.O.S.S. It's live, right now. Real companies running their operations on it. And it got there the same way. Scoped hard, smallest version that proved the return shipped first, then the next piece earned, over and over. I'm building Revistack out in the open the same way. Same buckets, same line, just bigger. Go look when you want proof that the smallest version is how the real ones get built. For now, scope your first version. That's the difference between an idea that pays and one that just sounds good in a planning meeting. I'll see you in the next one.